for her children to light a fire. The many children she would bear to Wang Lang stopped by the thought of children running in and out of their 3 rooms.
Okay. Now, what Wang Lung is doing is that since this is his wedding day, he is thinking about how nice it will be to have his new wife heat the water for him and bring him the hot water, because now he heats the water and takes it to his father. So he's looking forward to this part of married life. He's also wondering about what it will be like to have young children in the house. So the word we use in English is he's daydreaming. He's daydreaming about what his life will be like, not just tomorrow, but in the few years to come. He's daydreaming. Okay, we start with 3 rooms. Ben?
3 rooms have always seem much too deep. And how empty things it was a die.
Yes. 3 rooms had always seemed much to him, a house half empty since his mother died. So, again, this is a small house with only 3 rooms, and he thinks it's too big.
You said that it's small, 3 rooms is not so small, not small house.
Yeah.
3 rooms.
Well, he thinks it's a big house, 3 rooms, because, well, for him, and for all of the people that he knows, it's a very, very large house, and it's because it's just him and his father. He thinks it's half empty. Let's see. Okay, your turn. Where it says.
They were always having to resist relatives who were more crowded. His uncle with his endless group of children praising.
Okay, they were always having to resist relatives who were more crowded. His uncle and his endless brood of children coaxing. So what's going on here? They have this house. He and his father have a 3-room house, so they have extra room. So his relatives are thinking that, well, maybe they should just be able to move in and, live with them. But Wang Lung and the father says, no way, no way. The relationship between Wang Lung and his father and his distant relatives, the uncle and this big brood of children, many children, it's not a very good relationship. They just want, to be left alone. Okay, Nat, where it says now.
Now, I came to learn when with so much room. Can a father and son sleep together? The warmth of the young one's body will comfort the old one's cough.
Okay, now, because this is in quotation marks, you know what quotation marks are? That is a quotation. That tells us that someone is speaking. It tells us someone is speaking. And in this case, it's the uncle's voice. See, the uncle is saying, now, how can 2 old men need so much room? Cannot the father and the son sleep together? The warmth of the young one's body will comfort the old one's cough. See, this is the uncle trying to persuade Wang Lung's father and Wang Lung to let them to move in with them. Well, Wang Lung and his father want nothing to do with that. Okay, Tessa?
But the father always replied, I am saving my bed for my grandson. He will warm my borders in my bed.
Okay. So we still have quotation marks. So we still have a person speaking, but now it's Wang Lung's father speaking back to the uncle. And he says, I am saving my bed for my grandson. So Wang Lung is looking forward to filling his house with children. And Wang Lung's father is looking forward to being a grandfather. Let's see, Chop.
Now the grandsons were coming, grandsons upon grandsons. They would have to put beds around the walls and evenly.
Yes. Now their grandsons were coming, grandsons upon grandsons. They would have to put beds along the walls and in the middle room. The house would be full of beds. So they're looking forward to the house being filled again. Chop.
The place is the oven died down while Wang Lang thought of all the beds. There would be a half-empty house, and the water began to chill in the cauldron.
That's correct. You did very well, Chop. The blaze, do you know what a blaze is? A blaze is another word for fire.
Fire.
A blaze is fire. The blaze in the oven died down while Wang Lung thought of all the beds there would be in the half-empty house. And the water began to chill in the cauldron. So while Wang Lung is daydreaming about how the house is going to be filled with all of his sons, this is going on a long time because the water that he had heated in the cauldron has now begun to cool. And so Wang Lung, you can just see Wang Lung in the morning just daydreaming about the way things are going to be in the future.
Grandsons upon grandson. What's that?
Yeah, when we say grandson upon grandson upon grandson, that's another way of saying many, many, many grandsons. Grandson upon grandson is like multiple grandsons, many grandsons. It's just another way of expressing the same thought. Let's see, Ma, it's your turn. The shadowy figure.
Shadowy figure of the old man appeared in the doorway, pulling his shirt, unbuttoned the garments about him. He was hushing and screeching, and he gasped.
Okay, very good. Now, when we read a story, what we have to do is to picture the action in our mind. So here you have this very old man who's not well, and he's like getting dressed. He's sort of holding up his trousers and, tying the bows, and he's fumbling around. He's a shadowy figure. Shadowy figure. Do you know what a shadow is? Do you know what a shadow is? When the sun shines behind your back, it leaves a shadow on the ground.
Shadow.
A shadow.
No.
But when we use shadow as an adjective, a shadowy figure, it means that this figure is not quite there. A shadow is just a silhouette of the real object. But if we refer to a shadowy figure, that's another way of saying that the person is not like a complete person. He's small, he's frail, he's thin. He's not big and robust. A shadowy figure holding his unbuttoned garments. Garments, do you know what garments are? Clothing. Garments are clothing. A garment is clothing. So the image in our mind here is this old, frail man fumbling around, buttoning up his garments, getting dressed. He was coughing and spitting, and he gasped. Gasped. He's gasping for air. He's not well. He's not well. I'll read the next paragraph, and then that we'll stop there because we're out of time. Okay? How is that? How is it that there is not water yet to heat my lungs? So Wang Lung is upset at his son. Wang Lung stared and recalled himself and was ashamed. See, what happened is that while Wang Lung was daydreaming, the water in the cauldron got cold. And now his father's upset with him because he doesn't have hot water to warm his lungs. Wang Lung stared and recalled himself and was ashamed. This fuel is damp, he muttered from behind the stove. The damp wind, and he starts to explain. So Wang Lung knows that he made a mistake. Daydreaming, let the water get cold. He's making up excuses. He said, well, the fuel was wet. It couldn't make the fire hot enough. He's trying to talk his way out of letting the water get cold. The old man continued to cough